What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we have the update details, and unfortunately there's not a whole lot of changes to the system that's coming into place, but we'll run through it briefly and then we'll talk about kind of the bigger picture of what sort of this all means. 1027 update details. Greetings Aegis, CM Fragment as always. Null, the Lord of the Abyss, is the creator of the symbiotes, supervillains have infiltrated Marvel Future Fight this October. Basically the scariest update of them all. Two new heroes we already knew, Spider-Woman, Scream, have been added. Two new uniforms, Venom and Spider-Gwen. Looks like Miles will come, you know, as a weekly thing. 4 potential awakenings. We'll talk about that as well. I reviewed this and it looks like one of the characters isn't coming right away, but we'll have to see here. And then tier 3, Spider-Man, Spider-Web, potential awakening. It looks like they're going to skip over on Silk and probably come at a later time because she's not a part of this listed, so we'll see. They do mention the CTP reforging and the comic cards crafting, so we'll definitely talk about that. There is a separate link for this page kind of fully explaining it, but it's not really worth going into all that detail. It's still a broken system, so we'll talk about that. Scream gives a small little detail about it. The one thing that I do want to note that this is the Future Pass hero, not Spider-Woman, so again another month without a premium character in the normal pass reward in the season pass. So that's a little unfortunate. You will be able to use your Shadowland selectors on it, so folks should have Scream pretty quickly. I thought that she would be more of a support hero. Doesn't look like that's the case this time around. She does have some interesting little tidbits, does bleed damage, does, you know, have a defense down, but she does not have a heal, which is kind of unfortunate. I feel like all of these characters should have a heal as soon as they get the symbiote a part of them, but it is what it is. Spider-Woman here is the monthly biometric that we kind of saw before. She does have more of a support role for Spider-Sense characters, even though she's not really a Spider-Verse character, but whatever, that's besides the point. It's clear that the development team doesn't really read the comics anymore, or is just not taking pulls from that anymore. She does have a charm on her, which is great. She does have lightning resistance down, a la Beta Ray Bill and whatnot. She has a nice buff here. She does have a defense down stack as well. That's the 55% stack here. She does have penetrate, which is kind of cool. She does have a nice buff, 20% here, and removes incapacitation, so she'll be good for a couple of different characters, so that'll be good. She's okay. We'll have to kind of see what the damage looks like once we get her in game. We'll see what the other star agents or what the other folks play with her end up being with. New characters stats are based on tier 2 with 6 stats, so we'll have to go from there. New uniforms for Venom and Gwenom. Discounted regular price is now $10.50, which will be good. Nice HP buff. He kind of keeps that on his end. Defense down. Pretty good stuff. Nothing, I mean, most of the stuff looks exactly like it was on the APK. None of that stuff has changed much, so we didn't really give a whole lot of feedback as a community simply because we couldn't really test well. But yeah, it's kind of, these, I mean, to be honest, these are all kind of lukewarm, right? I'm probably most excited about Gwenom, simply because her she does have this interesting playstyle. She has great animations, but we'll see if we actually pick up the uniform. Yeah, new uniforms for Miles can be checked after the update, but will be available for purchase as a separate announcement, so there's that. New uniforms based on will go on sale, as well as their subsequent additional stats and stuff like that. All of these folks right here will go up to level 70, which is great. Tier 3 for Venom, accumulation 1.5 accumulation, which is great. Yeah, so let's go to the meat and potatoes of it. It's kind of, oh, this I guess is worthy of notes. Both these two are available for Spider-Woman's Awakening. You will require a Spider-Gwen at tier 2 level 60, a Silk at tier 2 level 60, and Captain Marvel, which if you read the comics you know that they're good friends, so I guess that's fine. Thankfully Gwenom does not require a Spider-Woman, but does require a Daredevil, which I don't really understand, but whatever. I don't get the relation to it, but the animation looks exactly the same. No world boss, 11 legend difficulty. They do kind of clear out that you are going to have specific requirements before getting into it. The showdown, own 3 or more tier 3 transcended potential characters. All heroes must be tier 2, 6-star ranked, 6-star mastery, and 60 level higher. So that's all your allies must be tier 2. So I guess the one that's most affected is weapon hacks. Weapon hacks for a lot of folks left it at tier 1. So but she's not going to be able to use her defense down anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. So you have to complete all those pieces before unlocking, and then for every iteration of 5 and up, I think it's 10, you are going to have these challenges just like World Boss is now. In terms of Conquer Awards, you will have this Essence of Dimensions, Cosmic Hughes Fragments, Odin's Blessings. I mean, those are nice. Those Breakpoint Awards are always good. Has never been wrong in the game, but it looks like the materials or the rewards for this game mode are not very outstanding outside of this. They basically created a new world boss in order to as a way to attain these crafting cores, reforging cores, or whatever it is, and otherwise the content isn't really worth doing. Along with the CTP reforging core, all 4 Titans records and tier 2 and tier 3 advancement materials are available. It's just like, I don't know, it's overshadowed by the fact that there's this looming CTP reforging program. They are going to up your raid levels, extended from 499 to 999, which is great. Valor extends from 2490 to 4990, which is going to basically make level 99 easier over time. There's that. So let's talk about the reforging in general. So CTP reforging hasn't changed at all, and this image is kind of the tall tale sign of why this is so stupid, right? You have a CTP of Transcendence, which is terrible, right? But in order to get an upgraded CTP of a Transcendence, you want this additional stat or whatever it is. You're going to use another CTP of Transcendence, but then you have to use other CTPs. And this image is great because it's a CTP of regen to upgrade a CTP of Transcendence. That's just stupid. Like, what are you doing? Like, that's just ridiculous. Like that is the thing that's happening here. Now, the success rate is 1% per CTP that you use. So yeah, I'm going to, in order to upgrade a CTP of Transcendence, I'm going to flush 1, 2, 3 CTPs of regen for a 3% success rate. Literally just going to flush them in order to make my CTP of Transcendence better. Are you like, this is stupid, right? Like, this is dumb. They go on to tell you that the super success rate of CTPs will be higher stats. Additional use to CTPs do not have to be the same as the CTP being reforged. Great, because why the hell would I want to do that? From here, they talk about 2 new stats that are coming to the game to kind of be aware of. Penetration kind of sounds like Bruce Lee's intercepting fist. When it's activated, after you're being attacked, the enemy's skill will be canceled, and the damage received animation will be forcibly be displayed and will remove all projectiles. So basically, in PvP, well, specifically in PvP, when you are being attacked and this penetration triggers, their skill is entirely canceled. Or maybe it's not just PvP, but it's like the enemy itself. Penetration, what it looks like happens is there's a gauge meter. And then when you are attacked and this activates, whatever skill is being done by your opponent is canceled. All of their projectiles are gone, and then you get to attack in response. It essentially triggers. But I mean, it's so translated so unclearly that we will just kind of have to see how it works, because they talk about penetration not working in story mode, legendary battle, squad battle, world boss stage. Like, where does this use that? Where would I use this? Timeline? Like, am I only using this against other players? Like, why do I not basically use it in anything else? Can't use it in ABX, can't use it in Danger Room. Why would it be beneficial to cancel all of that stuff? Right? Here's a look at the CTPs themselves in terms of what they'll change over. You can see the stat bumps between the normal CTP and so there's like this mighty and then there's brilliant. It's essentially the two versions of it. What we're seeing as forged and radiant is essentially the translation. But when you get a super success one, the all attack goes up by 4% here. I don't know if these numbers are right. Like, why would you go 0.8 up? That just doesn't make any sense. But here's a general look at them. You are getting this additional stat that we were just briefly talking about. It does affect only these 3 CTPs, but again, I mean, it's why affect these 3, right? And of course, it takes more crystals to unequip these CTPs. So once you put it on a character, basically it's left on that character. Like, what's the point? Comic card rolling has changed as well. It's not what we wanted. It is a little bit better, but it's still very, very costly. It's essentially changing maybe one section of 5, right? So the initial, to get these stars here, before it used to cost a graduated system of 1 premium card, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. Now it just requires 6-star mythic comic cards, right? It doesn't require the premium cards. But if you do want to lock the premium cards, if you want to change these stats on the premium cards, because they go over it briefly here, that's when the premium cards will start to come into play, as well as an additional cost for crystals. So as you're climbing these ranks, as you're trying to lock these cards, I mean, if you're trying to lock 5 of them, that's 500 crystals. Like, this is insane. You don't even get to pick. You're just locking that one stat while the other ones roll and change. Here's a kind of a look at what's grade 1, 2, 3, what each star can roll into. So depending on the quality of the card, right? So that's going to affect it. You can also change the first stat into dodge rate, recovery rates, poison resist, cold resist, a reduced debuff. Basically, the only one that's relevant, I guess, is the dodge rate. For 2, probably going to be HP. Some folks might go for movement speed. For grade 3, it's probably going to be ignore defense that most folks will use. For grade 4, it's probably likely to be increase crit damage. For grade 5, it's going to probably be attack speed or crit rate. But like they fluffed it with all of these cold resist, poison resist, lightning like it's just stats that you just don't care for. It's clear that like we still, it's a running gag that they don't play the game, and I think at this point it's kind of showing that they don't, because why would you want to increase your cold resist? Why would you want to increase your mind resist? There's nothing in the game that's very difficult to warrant any of that. And then the last one is obviously going to be all attack. Most folks will settle depending on, where you're at in the game, either energy attack or physical attack, but all attack is going to be the one that people want. Of course, to unequip these super powered up premium cards, it's going to cost crystals. If it's grade 6, it's a whopping 1,200 crystals to unequip it. I'm going to pause here kind of to talk about this in general, because this part of the game is what draws me to the game itself, right? The fact that these comic cards can affect your entire roster. I like building my roster as a whole, right? That's what I like about this game, is being able to pick up these cards and roll them to a point where like I can improve my entire roster. That's fun for me. As I get a card and I want to change it out, like I just got that Spider-Man card. It's great. I love it. I'm rolling it. I want to swap it in, and then I want to, move stuff around. That's the fun for me. That's the crafting game part of it for me that I find enjoyment. I don't necessarily like the fact that I'm re-rolling endlessly, but I like to make modifications to my roster as a whole. And that's kind of what this game is starting to I didn't really have a lot of before. When I used to play Diablo 2, we used to literally map out all the stats for strength, dexterity, all of those things. We would map them out, and then we would know where they would go, right? Like as soon as we earned a level or whatever, we know where we would put it. This premium card and comic cards is that system for your entire roster. So if I need more ignore defense, I kind of know where to slot that in. It sucks that I would have just preferred to just be able to lock just the stats on the regular card and make that pain of it not so difficult. But when you get a good card, there's no real way of kind of testing how it will perform against your other cards. You can't really equip and then unequip and kind of see how the roster changes. You have to do that in a third party. You have to do that on an Excel spreadsheet. You're going to do it somewhere else. And that's kind of the pain of crafting in this game. It's kind of why are we doing that? And then it's even more true of characters. To unequip an Uru, to unequip to unequip an obelisk or something like that, it costs crystals. So I don't really get a chance to play with them. And if I improve my roster, there's no way for me to adjust said characters as needed. And it costs, like, if it costs gold to roll everything, fine. Like, that's okay. I get that. If you were to unequip a bunch of Uru, maybe it'd cost you 1,000,000 gold. Not a bad problem. I will easily pay that, right? Say, for example, I pick up a comic book card and it has skill cooldown on it, a cooldown duration decreased on it, and all of a sudden my characters no longer need that on their Uru. It's now useless or a painful slot, or I just gotta flush all those Urus down the toilet, min-max my characters. I mean, that's the fun of why I like playing this game, is the min-max, right? But now, if that's the case, it just seems like it costs me crystals at every instance, and that is unfortunate. That's not something that I want to do. So because of that, you know, I play with my characters less. I rearrange them, adjust them less. And that's disappointing for me. Their carrot that they dangled for us is that we would be able to collect premium card chests, meaning that we're going to get a premium card essentially every month. It's random. It's RNG. It's not something you pick. You have to amass these 600 tokens, which will get 300 of them from the Future Pass. Then if you do Giant Boss Raid, you have a maximum of 10 every day. So essentially for 30 days, you have to play Giant Boss Raid to get the full amount that you need in order to exchange for a random comic book card. Premium, granted, sure, but there's just so many things that this could be. It could be a selector, it could be any number of different things. Like, it's just not smart. Yeah, it's really kind of disappointing at the end of the day. The comic cards also, I want to kind of note that this little tidbit here at the bottom, for those that are insane to gamble, whenever you do the 10x product purchase, not just the 1 pull, but the 10 pull of your dimension chest cards, your comic card chests, you get 60 of them. So, I mean, if you roll this 10 times, 10x, 10 purchases of it 10 times, you would get a random card, a random premium card. So I guess you could do that if you've got insane amount of crystals that you're willing to forfeit or willing to obtain these cards to forfeit. So I haven't gotten to see the table of what these cards are. Hopefully it's equal across all of them, because if it's not, that's going to be even more unfortunate. But you know, I love this little note here. The October update, the normal and advanced comic cards have been removed from the product, from this 10 card product, this 10 card chest. Like, why was that even there to begin with? Like, I don't gamble in this game, sure, because I don't believe in the luck of this randomness. But to have normal and advanced cards in there and then to remove it, that's just so behind. Like, when we're 1-star and 2-star, that just still means 3-star cards, 4-star cards are still in there. They don't need to be in there. Yeah, that's just asinine. This talks about the additional pierce damage and the concentration. What it sounds like, these only come with the awakened CTP effects, but basically, I don't know, it's just such a convoluted system, right? Like, the pierce damage is affected, this concentration affects your penetration and beatdown, and how often that happens. This additional pierce damage is basically the ability to ignore your defense, which is already a stat in the game. It's like, it's just a convoluted system. Like, who thought of this? Here are the details for Future Pass. Yeah, nobody's gonna buy this round. I mean, they still it's so hilarious of them for the Mythic Pass to have the King in Black, the null one, because you know people are going to want that null one, but they stuck it in the Mythic one, the one that we already think is overpriced. Here's Scream's Biometrics being the 30 piece in the normal pass, so that's great, I guess. Special icons, I mean, they're all cool looking. Like, this Iron Man one's cool, Venom one's cool. It's probably going to be the one from the monthly chest. The rest of this update is whatever. It's great that it's here. It's great that, you know, certain characters are getting upgrades and awakened characters, and Spider-Woman's finally arrived in the game. But I mean, 2020 for Marvel Future Folk was setting up to be a very, very good year. We got Black Widow, we got Incredible Hulk, Immortal Hulk. We got a lot of great things in the game, and then they release this part of the game to kind of ruin it for everybody. It's just really unfortunate that they went this route. I swear the crystal is the most displayed icon in this update. Like, it's crystals there, crystals here, crystals here, crystals here, like everywhere crystals. Unfortunately, this update puts essentially a timer on it. A timer on how long this game is going to last. One, I don't think this is a worthy correction to this CTP system and the premium card system. It's clear that's all the development time went to that, because we didn't really get a whole lot. There's no other characters in game. Spider-Man doesn't get a rework. Carnage may be coming later on, but there's other Spider-Verse characters that would have been cool. But yeah, it seems like more and more the development team is just out of touch, or letting the marketing team do more of the dictation of the way that the game is going. I hate to end it on a sour note. I really don't want to do that, but there isn't a whole lot left to be said. I really don't feel like doing a lot of this. I certainly don't feel like doing any of this new crafting with the CTPs and the premium cards. I don't really have a whole lot of enjoyment playing or building characters anymore, because every little test that I put on there, if it's Uru or something like that, it costs crystals to take off, so I don't really get enjoyment out of doing that anymore. So hopefully, I mean, the boycott continues. Hopefully the development team figures out what to do, starts listening to players in terms of what they would want, maybe send out a survey, maybe actually listen to a survey. But let me know in the comments, what are you guys going to do? What are you guys feeling like you're going to need to do? Whether or not you're going to continue playing this game. As always, subscribes, follows, hearts, likes, all of that stuff is greatly appreciated. I love when you guys hang out and we talk shop. But until next time, do good, and I will see you soon.